Are you addicted to creating content? I am, and I'm going to tell you more about that. I'm Lisa Princik, and I'm a membership coach and business strategist. And today we're going to dive into why creating excess content is sinking your business and your ability to grow. So, this is so important. I want to dive right in. When I'm talking about content, what I mean are all the kinds of content for your members, the stuff that you deliver to them every month, for your sales and marketing events, and including your social media and all the stuff that you do to get visibility in the first place. That is the content that I'm referring to. Okay. So I know you might think that creating content is the end all be all. And you've been told like create content, get it out there, get seen, get heard, share your knowledge, and everything is about content. And it is. But when I am meaning stop creating content and are you addicted, you're probably overdoing it. And you will know if you're this person. And I really recently figured out that I am this person, even though I am not someone who worries about constantly creating new content for my members. I'm doing it in a different way. Okay. So let's dive into the three types of content we do and what it looks like when we're overdoing it. So the first is creating it for your membership or your paid clients, coming up with new things for them to learn about, watch, read, understand. And a lot of people really feel it's necessary to stuff their programs full of content. Like the more spreadsheets, the more templates, even images, if you've got a design style program, you name it. We just feel like we have to stuff it full of stuff. And then when we actually look at what people use, which is what we should do, we'll realize that they're really just utilizing a small portion of it, like a really small portion. And I actually had a recent client who was looking through her photos that she has in a membership, a stock photo membership, and people all really tend to gravitate towards 10 to 12 of the 150 she provides every month. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. We can cram our programs full of stuff, but there's probably only a few core things that people will use. And they're probably going to use what we share with them. So, unless we're planning to do an event around it or a live challenge or an extra training around it, they're probably not even going to know it's there until you point to it because you're letting them know how to use it and you're giving them extra support to do that thing, or there's a theme of the month, etc. So I think this is where we can pull back the unnecessary content creation for the people in our programs when we aren't training them on it or actively getting them to use it, and we can just space it out a lot further, as well as consider taking what we already have in there and doing something around it, say in real time. Like I have a sales event challenge coming up in my membership next month, which is going to go through how to decide on the type of event you need for your launches or your evergreen funnels, whether it's a challenge or a webinar or a video series or just even an email series, and when to choose it and how to put it together so it's successful and how to know it's working. And I actually have that as an evergreen course inside my membership. But doing it live is going to add so much value for people, and everyone's really excited about it. So in this case, I'm not creating anything brand new. I'm not going through all the steps of recording and putting together new trainings and getting the design around it and the slides and all that. We're just going through the stuff that's already in there. And so that is something we can do to really save time on creating new stuff because it takes a lot of time. And I'm going to tell you what it prevents us from doing in a second. Second of all, sales and marketing events. And this is my biggest problem. We have webinars and trainings and presentations we do for other people's audiences and summits and bundles and shops and you name it. We have a lot of courses and trainings that we can use either in the sales process itself or in our shop and selling small things. And that it can really be fun because we get excited about an idea. So for example, I have a workshop. And then I decided recently to redo the entire contents in the workshop to update it because I was excited about the topics. But I think the other one was perfectly suitable for the kind of people I would like to join it to learn about me and get to know my approach and my style. And it would meet more people in the world where they're at versus like narrowing it down to a smaller type of market because the topics I picked for the second level were even more specialized. So that's an example, or presenting to an audience. So say you've got someone here like, come and speak to my membership on this thing, and you decide to do that. And then the next time you get asked in a different group, you decide to change the whole thing. Or on a summit, you're like, oh, I've already done this topic once. I'm invited to another summit. I'm going to change it all up and start it from scratch and put all new things in there. So while that can be tempting, and while maybe 5 to 10 years ago, when you were the only person in town doing the thing, you might have felt like, oh, it's the same people going to see this. I can't keep repeating it. But what I've really learned, especially in 2024 and going forward, people are so inundated with all of this that they only half pay attention to your topics, to your content, even when they show up to it. And you can repeat way more than you think, and you've got to in order to optimize. So I'll talk about that in a second. So sales and marketing presentations, like that core foundational stuff that meatier stuff, I should say, that we are putting into that has got to be repeated a lot more than we think and not created from scratch, because those are design hours. Those are practice hours. Those are hours that we're spending like 10, 20 when we could be doing more marketing and visibility, outreach, building relationships to speak in front of people's groups in the first place, pitching to podcasts to be a guest on them, all the things that actually get us in front of new people, rather than trying to really own a small corner of the market when we really only have got a reach of like several thousand people. And those people need to see us more times, and more people need to know we exist. All right. So the third type of content that we could be repeating more is even our reels, our really short form content, our social media clips. Just this morning in a mastermind, somebody mentioned how she has got a reel that she posts every year. So it's her third year in a row posting it. She said that goes viral. She goes, this one reel goes viral every single year, and she does it before a launch. And that was so interesting because we always think, well, we kind of got to come up with more and better. But she has one that she knows is going to go viral every single year, and she does it before a big launch. And it ends up getting her in front of thousands of new people who sign up to follow her on Instagram and join her list. So that is really interesting, right? Because we don't normally think of repeating our content in exact form. We often think, oh, we'll talk more about this thing and produce different reels around this topic, but we don't actually realize that we can repeat the exact reel, like literally take the thing and repost it again. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not making the assumption that everyone has seen us do something 5 to 10 times. To be honest, even when people are signing up for your training or your webinar, they're half paying attention. And to be even more honest, they probably need to hear it again because they're probably not utilizing or implementing it all. We can't take in all of the information that we are watching and use it right away. Often we need to hear it again, do something with it, like think, oh, I could do this, and then hear it again and go, okay, I've started on this process, and then hear it again when we need to actually optimize it and make it work better. So we can take the same thing, the same training, and hear it many times and still get more and more things out of it. So we need to remember that in our own sales and marketing so that we can save ourselves some time in putting all this stuff together and focus on the things that do require us to come up with innovative things. Like maybe we need to work on our sales emails, or maybe we need to work on our sales pages because we haven't followed a tried and tested and true practice on putting our sales page together, and we're losing 1 to 5% of our sales because it's just not communicating the value of our program properly. And that is real. I keep coming across this constantly with my members and clients. I look at their sales page and they're like, I'm only converting at 2%. And I look at it and go, well, it's missing all these things and it's going to take a bit of work, but it's worth it. Okay. So why we do this content thing? Well, there's so many reasons. There's, obviously the desire to please and prove ourselves and impress, but sometimes it just comes from really other well-meaning intentions. I was speaking to a mastermind client yesterday who is from a background and a family of teachers, and everyone loves teaching. And some people just love the art of teaching. So the tendency is to just teach more and more and more and more. And instead of really pausing and going, well, do people really need to learn more? Or do they just need help navigating through the teaching that they already have in front of them? My reason for doing it is a little bit less about that and more about helping people see the truth and the real data, the real information behind something. Because I really want people to stop wasting their time doing activities that aren't leading to results. Like, do you need to learn a brand new social media tactic if you've already got a small following on one and you're just not using it well enough or working on it consistently? No, like you just need to stick with what you know and you need to optimize it because everything needs optimizing. And if you start something new, that's going to need optimizing and that's going to take time. So you might as well start with what you already have. So mine is more of a truth telling or more of a pointing out that you can do something more simply. You can come back to something that you already know. And that's my desire for teaching people content. I love shedding light on the truth behind why things are done the way they are and why they're so important. And that makes me want to come up with the latest way of doing and saying something in my sales presentations, in my workshops, in my presentations to other people's audiences and on summits. I'm constantly doing that. And I need to stop that because it's taking up way too much of my time. So this is the year that I'm on repeat and I'm not going to create many more brand new things. I'm going to maximize and leverage what I already have. And that's what we need to do instead. We need to focus on taking what we know and what we can do and sharing it more often, sharing it with more confidence, and sharing it over and over again instead of coming up with brand new core pieces that take a long time to produce. So, sure, you can play with reels around a topic because you've already got that presentation figured out. You've got your webinar, you've got your challenge, you know what it's about. But instead of saying, well, I'm going to turf the webinar and turn it into a challenge because that might work better, that takes a fair bit of work because you've got to rearrange how things are done. And then you have to set up the automations, which are different. And then you have to set up the emails because those are all different. And you've got to change the way the topics are laid out and the sales pages for it and all these other things because it's a totally different way of teaching people. Then you could be just taking that one thing and getting more people in it, or changing the subject of it, or writing different emails to get more people to show up to it, like really minor things, which are the things that will make the measurable difference in the ROI instead of spending the 10 to 20 hours to recreate your content by saying, well, instead of these 3 topics that I know do really well, and then just changing the name of the presentation, you decide to do it on a whole new 3 topics that ends up taking 20 hours to create. All right. So this is why we shouldn't do it. That's what we need to do instead. We need to stop our addiction. We need to be mindful that we're addicted to creating new stuff all the time and just get really focused on leveraging our brilliance that we already have and recognizing that not everyone is paying attention to us at all, nearly a fraction of what we're paying attention to. And even those who do, they probably are enjoying hearing our message. So we don't have to keep coming up with new and creative ways to do things, to create things. We just need to maybe play with how we're saying it. And we need room and space in order to do that. So let's pull back on that. Let's start doing things a different way. And I really hope that this is going to help you increase your growth by 5%, 10%, you name it this year by just getting really honest with yourself and where you're spending too much time wasted and what you really need to focus on. All right. I hope to see you on over to my website. I have a new training called the Six Figure Membership Secret. It is on demand, so you can watch it anytime. All you have to do is come on over to scalingdeep.com/training to get in on it. Check it out. I think you'll find it really interesting. Thanks for being here with me. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.